Whatever was said, I deny it unless it was good, and then I absolutely confirm it.
I think it was just somebody who had an opportunity to meet you recently and mentioned your name to me. Gene, welcome. Where are you
Thank you
joining
very
from, Gene?
much. Yeah, I'm in Allentown.
Great.
Thank you. It's just only 7 of us. I thought it's going to be 777.
There's been a wide range of numbers for these calls. And I think especially during the summer, it varies. We do record the meetings and make them available that way. Additionally, we have regional calls. That's part of what we'll cover during the meeting tonight, is making sure that people have an opportunity to connect within their regions. There
Okay.
also are some national opportunities to connect. And in fact, that also will be covered as we jump into the agenda tonight. This Thursday is the 1-year anniversary for the National Forward Party, and there's going to be a great opportunity for everyone to jump on that a call that has the national leaders and some other invited guests sharing some of the things that have been accomplished over this past year. So
That's really cool.
yeah. So we'll give it just another minute for people to join in, and then I'll share my screen and start walking us through the things that we have going on. Brian, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you, thank you. I always get on these and go, oh, I gotta comb my hair.
That's right. I see myself more on Zoom than I do in a mirror. I'll be like, I'm with you on that. Jack, good to see you again. Rachel, glad to see you. Thanks for your additions.
Oh,
I saw your comment. We were able to get some things taken care of there, so it's good.
I know at least 2 people here.
Yes, Marlene, good to
Yes.
see you again.
2. I'm here. I'm just interested.
Yes. Leah, glad you're here. Bob. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Just so everyone is aware that we do record these meetings and make them available for people who aren't able to come during the meeting time. There will be opportunities for questions at the end, but certainly feel free to raise your hand at any point, and I'll pause and happy to hear from everyone who's on the call. All right, so you should be seeing my screen now, hopefully.
Yeah. I see it.
All right. Let's start off with a quote that I came across these past couple weeks. It's one that may be familiar to some of you. It was said of many years ago, but one of the penalties of refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. And that is not to throw mud at anyone, but this is just to thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. You know, part of what the Forward Party really stands for is engaging people. We want everyone to feel like they have a voice and that voice is meaningful. Too often, people get turned off by politics because they feel like their voice doesn't matter anymore. And that's part of what we are here to help address and invite people to be part of the process. So here's a quick rundown. You don't need to memorize this, but this is what we're going to be running through today. While it's a full page, it's really a pretty brief agenda. We're going to just go over some announcements, touching on the Harrisburg announcement that we reviewed last month's meeting, and then some upcoming events that we want everyone to be aware of and invite you to. We'll have an opportunity for our teams to give some updates and reports and let you folks know how you can get involved with the team if you'd like. And we'll also have some information about that town hall meeting for the 1-year anniversary of the National Forward. So that with that said, we're just going to begin. we're actually going to kick off with that. So that's this upcoming Thursday. Maybe someone can, well, the link is here on the screen. That's going to be hard for any of you to save, but maybe one of the other leadership team members can drop in the chat so you can save that. It is also on the website. Hopefully you've also seen this in an email. There's a great great program put together for this Zoom call. There's going to be opportunities for some questions, but also a number of the different leaders and some of the politicians from around the country that have come out as forward. I believe we're going to be joining us for that call too. So hopefully you'll have some time on Thursday. It's always better live, but once again, just like tonight's call, there will be a recording of that available for anyone who can't make it Thursday, but that's this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So last month when we were all together, I did let you all know that we were going to be heading to Harrisburg and that we had a big announcement. In this picture, you'll see Senator Williams and Senator Biscola, along with many of the Pennsylvania leaders and some national leaders. Thank everyone who was able to come out and be part of that. Hopefully you read this news or heard some things about this. Senator Williams gave a great speech, as did Senator Biscola. But it was just great to have them come forward and announce their alignment. They're not leaving their respective parties, or they're both registered and elected as Democrats, and they're not leaving their party. They're in their position as forward Democrats. We also have some other people that will be forward Republicans, and we'll also have people in the near future that are forward. The idea is that we can promote good conversation and civic engagement and solutions without having to demonize other people. We're not asking people to abandon their roots. We're just asking them to be open-minded and engage one another in a civic way and civilly. And we were so excited to hear to have these two members stand up and do that alongside of us. There were also two members of the House that joined us that day that are still considering signing a pledge. Valerie Gatos has been very supportive and has reached out to some of her colleagues, and I think that we're likely to hear from her in the future. There's going to be a meeting coming up this fall where we have an opportunity to meet with many of the members of the state elected officials. And we're really excited just to present to them what it is that we are doing and why we think it's important, and help them understand who we are, but also invite those who are interested and like-minded to join us. And with that said, we have a couple candidates that are making that choice to align with the Forward Party, and we'll be letting that news out soon. And so we want to give you a couple dates to save, where if you're located in the Philadelphia area or interested in driving out, August 10th, and I don't have a time for you yet, but we will be having an announcement at Independence Hall, and this is regarding a candidate that is in a race that we believe is very important and very winnable, and it's going to need our support to really make a case and tell the story of why this would be the right representative for the people there in Philadelphia. So I would welcome you to join us August 10th at Independence Hall for that announcement. And then the following week, August 17th, out in the Pittsburgh area, there's another announcement for another candidate. So it's great to see on both sides of the state and from across the political spectrum, people who are seeing the value in what we're building and looking to be part of things. But this is also not just something to celebrate. It's also kind of the starting line for some hard work, because we're going to need to get people out to help knocking doors and sitting at booths, talking to people, engaging people, and helping to introduce them to these candidates that have signed the Forward Pledge and are looking to represent Forward across Pennsylvania. So we really want to invite you to be active in that and to pay attention to what opportunities are going to be coming up in the near future. And we're looking forward to getting people connected.
I have a
was something-
website and a person to contact to get the young vote in. I have a person who is very interested in the young vote. So I have the name and the contact information.
Oh, that's tremendous, Marlene. I appreciate that. That's very helpful. It's certainly part of what we've been talking about. We have a couple of very young active members in our leadership team, and yet we need to build off of that and find more connections and give them an outlet, and also all of us just being able to reach out and help them see hope for the future in a way to be actively engaged. So this is a summary. There's a couple key words here, and while the pledge that we ask our aligned candidates to sign goes into other details or other specifics, and even with our volunteers, there's other supporting information, and they don't mimic each other exactly, but all of them are built around these concepts. And I just like to keep this here to remind us what it is that we're really looking for and asking people, what is that common thread that holds us together? Putting humanity first, committing to data, communicating with integrity, grace and tolerance, embracing political diversity, not left or right, but forward. With that, that's going to take us to the team reports. And we're going to start with the communications team. I'm going to stop sharing for just a bit. And I'm not sure if Bill Detweiler was able to jump on the call. But Brian, I see you're here. If you want to speak to any of the things that are happening with the communication team, that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we got our newsletter out for the second month in a row. So that's July. We'll be doing that every month going forward. Hopefully on the first of every month. And so we're always looking for anyone that wants to write up a, short article that, or, any interesting topics that you'd like to see in that. We're happy to, if you have something to say, we'd be happy to send it out to our mailing list. On that newsletter, you can also see the calendar of all the important events that month. Including the regional calls like Christian mentioned. Those are really great to hop on, and at least that newsletter puts them all in one place and gives you links to things going on. So yeah, check that out. And then communication team, we're also constantly looking for people that want to be involved with our social media push. If you have any interest in getting involved with that, let us know.
Thanks, Brian. In addition, I want to add on some organizing information that ties directly to the communications team. We do have our branded tablecloths and feathered flags are shipping. So this is good news for a lot of our leadership team. Doesn't even have that update yet, but I got notification this morning that they shipped. So by the end of the week, we should have those. And we want to get those out in the places where they're going to be visible and useful. And I'm inviting all of you, if you know of a local fair or an opportunity for us to get in front of people and help tell the story of what Forward is and why we exist, we certainly are looking for the right opportunities in helping to, and we'll help through our mailing list gather people, but also if you know people that might be willing to help man a table, we want to be able to reach out beyond just those that we've already connected with and help let them know that they have options. It's not just two options anymore, and that we're here to represent more positive space and respond to their frustrations in a positive way. We also have a need, and this is one of the tasks that the communication teams has been given and is working on. And if anybody on this call has a gift in this area or experience we're going to be working up some merchandise and making sure that we have some T-shirts and some other things to put people in or send them off with, again, just to help build the awareness and visibility so that people, we need to support these candidates that are stepping forward. We want to make sure that we're as visible as possible and that we're connecting with as many people as possible. And the closer that we get to that 2024 presidential election, while we're not running in the presidential race, I'll make that clear. That's not the game that we're here to play. Not at this point. We're looking at local elections and we're really focused on things that are in the community and within the state. But all of the talk about that 2024 presidential election is already starting to boil. And the more that people hear that talk, the more that they have their own conversations within their circle of friends about what they like or dislike about politics, and giving them a positive outlet for some of that energy is part of what we want to tap into here. All right, candidates and research. Ben, do you want to speak to what's been going on there?
Sure. Speaking about local races, we are currently in the process of trying to get a couple of people on the ballot for as independents. It's looking like we might have two that could potentially be on the ballot. There is an important deadline coming up, so if you're in close to Washington County or Berks County, we might be calling on you to help gather some signatures. So that's, and the deadline is the 1st. So yeah, and as Christian pointed out also, we have full of candidate endorsements coming up. We are also looking for, if you know anybody who is already running for a race and you think they would be a good, if you think they would want to be endorsed by us, we are taking applications to be endorsed. So send us an email and we'll move on the process to get those, see if we can get those candidates endorsed by the Forward Party. We have a couple in the pipeline already. So
Thank you, Ben. Kyle, I think I saw you were on the call. Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
As far as the candidates for now?
Yeah, and maybe you don't. I'm kind of putting you on the spot. I didn't warn you I was going to call on you here, but
No worries. I think just to avoid putting anyone else on the spot, I think, yeah, I'll just kind of leave it at that for now, but I'm very excited. It does seem like we might have someone in the Southeast who's running. And he's on the call right now, but I will make him step up. But yeah, so basically we're working on, getting the candidate what they need so they can get on the ballot. And so it's very exciting. And yeah, if there's any other, because I would say if there's any other regional chairs who had trouble getting in contact with any of the leads that you had, you can reach out to me as well, so we can make sure we at least talk to everyone we can.
great. Thank you, Kyle. Finance and fundraising, Jack.
Hi, guys. So lots of stuff's been going on in the last couple of weeks as we've been moving toward working through our strategic plan and how we were going to pay for it, because unfortunately it requires that, and how we're going to raise some money for it. So we have moved ahead now. We've been fortunate enough to have engaged a fairly reputable law firm who's agreed to take us on pro bono to help us navigate through the official registration as a legal entity here in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm not prepared to say exactly how it's going to be done, but it'll be probably organized under the 527 IRS code and sort of a political body. Once that's done, we'll have our own checking account. We've already made arrangements with National to start setting up our own website. And that's on the one side, on the legal entity and what we do with the money if we had it, so we could apply it to a budget, which takes me to budget. We have a preliminary budget that will take us through the next 90 days to help pay for some of these events that Christian just suggested that we hope you guys will attend and maybe put on. And so the two pieces are in play together. On the fundraising side, I'm not quite as tuned into that. Tim's not on the call here, but I understand they're in the process of kicking off a late or midsummer campaign to help fund the operating budget. Christian, you might know more about that than I.
Yeah, what I'll say for today, for anyone who is so inclined, we do have the QR code later in the slide presentation. There are different places of how you can donate to support Forward. There is a national organization and they do a lot to support us and we want to be supportive to them. But there also is a state budget. Those are two different places. And we do have expenses within the state. All of us are volunteers. These are truly operating expenses as we get our feet on the ground and make sure that we have the tools to be able to respond to opportunities and support candidates. Just encourage people to consider if they have people in their network that you might reach out to and say, hey, are you willing to support, having more options when you go to the voting booth? We want to encourage you to make that outreach. Tim will be putting some information together and sharing at the next meeting about what the current campaign is. But it starts with just people understanding that we're here and why we're here. And you guys who are taking the time to be on this call, helping to tell your story of why is this of interest to you? Tim will tell you what we don't need fundraising, we need storytellers, and that'll lead to raising the money. So we all want to be able to practice telling our story and helping people understand why we feel like there needs to be a new solution to politics and how do we engage more people. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. I think that Tim will certainly get the message out in the future, but we all need to be part of sharing that message and appreciate everyone's consideration there.
Christian, I have a question.
Yes.
So are you planning a training session for storytellers, just to kind of get those points, those bullet points and more explanation?
That is a great suggestion. We don't have anything scheduled as of yet. Is that something that you have experience with or have a connection with? Or we can help lead something in that direction. The way that you asked that question, it sounded like you maybe had a recommendation there.
I don't have a direct recommendation. I've been involved in training sessions for work and so forth, but it just seems it might be something good so that everybody is kind of saying the same thing. There's going to be a diversity of opinions. That's what we're trying to foster and nurture. But having kind of the basic outline would be great.
I love that. Thank you, Chris. Good suggestion. Rachel.
Yeah, I was just going to also say, I love that suggestion. It's something we've tossed around a few times about being able to workshop our messaging, even though, again, they will vary, but to give each other feedback, it's a complex concept, and to just speak with each other and try to get the point across in a concise way of what your why is, how your why might be different than mine. The story, yes, and if you get the opportunity to go deeper, but I definitely think, like we've said, our elevator pitch, to reel someone into an actual conversation is something that we've struggled with nationally, I think, and we've made the suggestion to national, but I think at a state level, if we can have a framework session or just another meeting suggested, or a few of them, or a regional call, each could focus on them. I think it's a great idea because you hook someone or lose someone so quickly these days. That I would just second your suggestion, kind of combination storytelling with the mini pitch. Not that we're selling it, but we are trying to sell it.
So Rachel, I see a subcommittee coming on in low here. Maybe we can rope Chris into it and have you lead it.
Or Chris can lead it and I would be happy to help.
The truth is,
But anyway.
I think it's a brilliant idea. I thank you for bringing it up, Chris, and I think we should make it happen. And Kyle, it ought to be something we can put on the agenda on all the meetups, right? Sort of a little like, here's my story, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I have
sure.
a
And it's
lot of
definitely-
stories, but they're not together yet. So when I know them myself, then I'll start
That'd be
telling the
good.
stories.
That'll be
Oh,
good.
the other thing I was gonna say too is to get a sampling of it. This is actually why I raised my hand first. Is Thursday night the call. I think there are a bunch of mini videos of storytellers who've been pretty involved so far at the national level, and I'm sure locally at their states. So Thursday night, if you're planning to call in or you're looking for a reason to call in, that would be a good intro to like the storytelling. Why are you forward? What's your why? Those types of things, and we can maybe take from that and build.
Mhm.
Great point. Rachel.
Mine's a little bit more complicated, but we'll see what makes sense at the right time.
All right, on the agenda next, I have the strategic. I'm gonna skip that momentarily just because I'll get back to screen sharing at that point. We'll go down to the organizing. So I just wanted to give a minute for any of the regional chairs that are on the call to maybe just highlight when their regional meetings are and give an invitation for people to join with what's happening in your region. So with that, Kyle, I'll go back to you.
Absolutely. So kind of just an update on, we had our last regional meeting, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Now I'm blanking a little bit, but we got a lot of new faces, which was really good. Kind of going back to the stories, it was like a lot of people's first time being on the call. Some people were kind of Republicans or Democrats. So it's always great kind of hearing what gets people involved in Forward. As far as the upcoming dates on our next call, I would have to double check our schedule, so I'm sorry about that. But just wanted to highlight real quick, we did do a tabling event. I don't think we talked about, no, that was since then. So we did do a tabling event up in Bucks County at Northampton Days. And that was really great just to, be able to give our literature out to people, talk to some people, but honestly, just being out there with our banner. And then some people, not everyone wants to talk politics, especially now. So there was a lot of people that just like took our literature and went along and, or so they said something nice. So I thought that was a really good way to connect. But yeah, I have to double check our next upcoming meeting. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's been going well. So anyone
Could
who's
you
in the
just,
Southeast
for
region.
those who might not know, could you just define?
Oh,
your
yeah.
region?
So I'm the Southeast Regional Chair. So I'm here. I live in Malvern now. I'm originally from Westchester. So we basically encompass like the whole Philadelphia area. So yeah, I'm like if you're in my region, please feel free to reach out to me. I've gotten to know a lot of you. So yeah.
Great, thanks, Kyle. Hector.
Good evening, everyone. My name, as Christian said, is Hector. Hi, Chris. How are you? I am the regional co-chair for the Capital Region, which encompasses, the Harrisburg area, Lancaster County, York, Gettysburg, etc. And our regional meetings, as of right now, are the second Monday of every month up until September, as I do start law school in the end of August. So I have to switch the times around in September. It'll probably start falling on a weekend this time around, just so that I am still able to be present. And we're still tentatively planning to do an event in Hanover this Saturday, the 29th. It is Hanover Pride. We just kind of want to do simple tabling, just kind of get our faces out there. Nothing major, it's just to say hello to people. And then there was another one that Christine, who I don't believe is on tonight, was very kind to point me in the direction of, that I will be looking into so that we can do another tabling event in the next few months. So please be on the lookout for that. And once again, for anybody in the Capital Region, please feel free to join in next month on the second Monday, beginning at 6 p.m., excuse me. from 6 to 7 is just an hour, and we'll keep going from there. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Hector. Brian?
Yeah, thank you. So, right now, in the Southwest, we're having our regional calls on the second Wednesday of the month at 7 PM. So, we'll keep going with that. And, yeah, we've had a couple good calls, and so feel free to hop on and we can talk about what's going on in the region,
What region are you in?
Southwest. So
Southwest?
Pittsburgh,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
the
okay.
greater Pittsburgh area.
So missing from the call tonight is Bill Detweiler and Emily Corns. Emily is the other central region, the non-capital central region out around the Somerset area. I know she was on a couple other calls earlier in the day, and I think she's tied up with kids' sports right now. And Bill Detweiler is in the, somebody help me define his region for me. It's the Northeast.
Just Northeast, yep.
So hopefully you guys will, everyone on this call will have an opportunity to meet them or see them in the near future. They've been great additions to the team. We do have a gap in the Erie area, in the northwestern corner of Pennsylvania. If anyone, we have some active people, we have some people on the rolls, but no one who wants to step up into any sort of leadership at this point. So we're looking to just spend some time up there and identify someone who might help to organize that area. If anyone happens to have connections that way, we'd certainly appreciate an introduction and helping to grow that region a little bit more. So, all right, we're going to go back to Rachel to talk about the strategic plan committee, and I'm just going to share my screen again. Go ahead, Rachel.
So the priorities, is that what?
Yeah, this is, or I'm sorry,
So-
the priorities committee, correct?
Yeah, the priorities of the state. So back in May, actually probably April, Jack Merritt on the call here and myself, we were charged with coming up with what are the priorities of people in Pennsylvania. We need to figure out what's important to people in Pennsylvania, not just people who call into these calls. If we're going to say that we are going to, try to get candidates into office who are going to address what matters to us and not just what matters to their party. So over on the right side, we did develop a ranked choice voting poll, and we've posted it and put it on newsletters and tried to share it, asking of, I think there was probably 20 to 30 options, and said, what is most important to you in Pennsylvania? And you can rank them 1 through 5 of importance. We've also been trying to get some like larger, more like gold standard polling that maybe existed by someone who, or a body that really, does this for a living, as opposed to a couple of well-intentioned volunteers, although Jack was really great about developing the survey and filtering it. So finally, we were able to get our hands on a Quinnipiac poll, which many of you have probably heard of that. I could not get a number of how many respondents it was based on, but there's some interesting overlap and there's some interesting differences. So I will just say this is very recent. This poll from Quinnipiac closed, I think like June 28th or something like that of 2023. So it is current, and the respondents are registered voters and asked, when considering the presidential election, which is most important to you. So they are asking a different question as opposed to, local versus national, what's important. And they're making them choose just one. And we're asking to get a cluster of important issues that we can make sure our candidates represent the people of Pennsylvania on. But really, they do come pretty close. So ours are clustered by, first and second and third and fourth and fifth choices. So the numbers are a little different. Bill, Jack might be able to speak. I don't think those are actual percentages. It's just some kind of composite score that ranks them in order. And the Quinnipiac poll is percentages, because you could only just choose one issue. So in both polls, we have the economy coming in first. Then in the Quinnipiac poll, it says preserving democracy, which I colored in blue as I did with election reform and term limits. I'm interpreting it here, but I think those things sort of fall into a similar philosophy, fall into a similar bucket, let's just say, followed then by gun violence. Again, 59, I don't think is a percentage. It's some kind of ranked choice voting number. versus the 9% over in gun violence. So if you have to choose between the economy or gun violence, obviously the economy ranked much higher. They were not able to rank them. So I think you guys are understanding what I'm saying. So abortion on the Quinnipiac poll came in 4th. We decided to write it reproductive rights. Obviously words have meaning, but that's the same category. There are actually 8 items on each side. I don't know why I tried to filter it or space it, but they came out longer on the right. It must be the font. But anyway, there's 7 items, I believe, on each side. The only one that doesn't hit both is immigration. And then election form and term limits takes up 2 spots on the right-hand side. So it is interesting that we're sort of in line, at least with the Quinnipiac poll. At some point, as we get our website kicked off, as some of the other states, like I want to say North Carolina, possibly Texas, and I think Nevada, you know, you do want to say what your state priorities are. And we've put this on the back burner a little bit while researching and recruiting candidates for office, because the deadline, as Ben mentioned, is next Tuesday. But we've been able to circle back to it. And at some point, we're going to have to pull the trigger and say, you know, this is by our homework and, you know, by what we believe to be the priorities. It was a 2-tiered project in the beginning, which this is what's important and this is what we think of it. And we've really dropped the what do we think about it, meaning policy. This could be a conversation for another day or multiple conversations for multiple days, but really it's what's important. And then the candidates come to us and say, this is what I believe on the economy. This is what I believe will improve gun violence. This is what I believe about reproductive rights, versus us saying to candidates, we believe that this will fix the economy. And that's the difference between Forward and the other major parties, or one of the differences. So thank you for your time, and you can enjoy the color-coded comparison.
Yeah, if you could leave that up for a bit, Rick. Go ahead.
Yeah.
If
Who has
you
a
don't
question?
mind, when can you ask questions, at the end or anytime? Because I am naturally very new, but I like what I saw and I'm continuing with that feeling because I feel politics are very important. So what I wanted to ask was, is there a representative from Montgomery County, like in Lower Moreland area? Is there anyone from that area?
Is there anyone like
A
affiliated or aligning?
representative, is there a representative in that area? Because that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
And, you know, I
So
don't.
it's up to us to find our people, right? So there's 3 ways that elected officials can be forward. And for the most part, there's candidates who are right now have to be independent, neither a Democrat nor Republican, and interested in running for something between now and collecting signatures on August 1st. And that's where our focus has been partially. So we call them candidates that are fully forward. And then there's aligned leaders or candidates, someone running as a Republican or Democrat or elected as a Republican or a Democrat, who would decide, you know, has some frustrations and wants to identify and align with us. Christian can go into a little bit more depth, but the pledge he was speaking of, and there's caucuses forming, you know.
Well,
As far as
politics,
on this call within our party, Kyle would be the regional chair for your county.
oh, Kyle?
Sorry, I might have misunderstood, but if you know someone in your area who you think talks this talk and walks this walk, you can forward their name to Kyle or any of us and, you know, reach out and say, are you interested in aligning? Are you interested in switching? That is the third bucket, is party switchers, which is, I don't even know if you can do that yet in Pennsylvania. Ben would know best, because I don't think we're actually a party yet. So that's like the third
Yeah.
category.
I'm sorry for interrupting. You have a lot of important things to say, but not at this time is Kyle a representative for me. I would have gone yesterday, but that's not working out. There's always a niche in something. So it would be Montgomery County, or not Bucks County, but Montgomery County in Lower Moreland, Upper Moreland area.
Yeah, Marlene,
so-
are you asking who's the forward, who's the forward representative?
Well,
or the
maybe, yes. I mean, the forward, I don't know if there's a representative, but I'm trying to do something now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want
Kyle.
to confuse your conversation.
No,
but-
that's okay. Montgomery County is in southeast, which is Kyle, as Christian said.
The whole thing?
No.
Okay.
So Marlene, here's the thing. We're still, that's such a great question, because that's why we're all here, right? So when we get into strategy, there's a little bit of that communication and then spreading the word, right? And then it's building the organization. And kind of build the organization from the bottom up, but it naturally aligns into little groups, right? So now that we have, 100 people or so that are kind of regulars in and out of these calls, we've got our bylaws, we've kind of moved down the road. We keep doing this to try to build the organization. So we're organized on these 6 regions, right? Of which Kyle is the head of the Southeastern Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
but that's Kyle, right? So under Kyle, and he can talk to this, he's hopefully identifying people like you who might have the time and the inclination to join, and maybe you'd be willing to be the Montgomery County lead, right? And then you'd be like working with other county leads in Southeastern Pennsylvania. And then you might run into a friend who like really is captured by your story. And they might live in Upper Moreland and they might say, hey, I'll be the committee person for Upper Moreland, right?
Okay, yeah.
And that's how it works. It's like that. You do the one and you get the 2 and then you meet the friends. And that's why we're trying to have these meetings and then to have these tabling events and to go to the street fairs and to get out and spread the gospel, so to speak, so we can find like-minded people who would say, hey, this resonates with me. I got a story like that. And then they join us, right? Before you know it, you have a movement. And that's kind of where we're at. So, right.
Oh, okay, because I
Good to you,
I
Marlene.
like what I saw, and so I don't like, so I'll let you finish, but I have to study a little bit more to see what I'm doing. And I had hoped that Thursday night anyone could go because I signed
yeah.
up for that too,
Oh, yeah, please.
I
do.
have to
That's
know
the
what I'm
point.
doing first before I do
Oh.
it.
Well, if you could come on Thursday and bring your friends and have a watch party.
Well, okay, that's a story in itself.
Yeah. So Jack, you asked me to leave this screen up, I think, right? Were you going to speak to it further?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak a little bit because Rachel and I have been partners now for, gosh, like 4 months on this project or 5 months, and it's been so much fun working with her. What's cool is she was able to get the Quinnipiac poll, and ours is still running. And I can answer any questions offline or now later, but not to take up time on the methodology. But the point is a lot of alignment. What isn't said here is exactly what Rachel pointed out, which is on the policy side. So people will say, "Oh, I get it. Everybody's priority is gun violence," and my policy, I'm really strong. I know exactly how to solve gun violence. We just give guns to everybody, and then if a bad guy comes, we shoot him. There's no more gun violence. And the other person over here says we ought to figure out some magic bullet to vaporize everything. Just got a firing pin, and yeah, both of them would say gun violence is the top thing on their list, right? So what we're trying to do is not come out and dictate a specific range of where we are on gun violence, but to recognize that gun violence is a big deal. It's important to a whole lot of people, and a whole lot of people have somewhat different places where they'd like to start and different places where they'd be okay with if we landed on a policy around it. And so our guiding principles and our culture here, and what we're trying to bring to Pennsylvania is let's find political candidates and leaders who are leading us, who are representing actually us, not the party, but us, and let them find places where we can agree, right? Because we can agree that we need to reduce gun violence. We might not all agree on every little thing about how to do it, but we all see, we look at right here on the street, on the screen. We can agree that gun violence is a problem. So there's probably some compromise, some reasonable thing that can be done to start moving that needle and start reducing the incidence of gun violence in our state. And it might not be perfectly appropriate for you, Marlene, or you, Eric, but
Oh, it's very
find
appropriate.
that middle piece, right? And so that's why we're not coming out on a very specific policy. We want to come out on being allowed to listen to everybody's policy and then find out where we can agree. That's what we're looking to do. I'm sorry, I get passionate.
Thank you, Jack. Did you have more on this screen or should I?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. All right. This is a carryover. I wanted to leave this in because this is really what we're asking everyone to participate in. it's identifying opportunities, getting to know your elected officials and developing leaders. That's what we're here to do. So if you see an opportunity in your part of Pennsylvania, we want to know about it. We want to see how we can come alongside of you and do it. While you're there looking for those opportunities, one of the best ways to identify them is by getting to know your elected officials. Even if it starts by looking up and understanding who that is, because not everyone always pays attention enough to even know who their elected officials are. But then if you have an opportunity to hear them speak or to meet them, they're people. When you start to take away the office and get to know them as people and connect with them and communicate with them, that's where conversation and dialogue can be opened up, and where we can find the opportunities to work together and really make an impact. And certainly amongst us, there are leaders, and we want to help to develop one another and identify who has that ability to step up and be those leaders and elected officials. So next month, we're going to do a different format. And it's celebrating our 1 year within the state of Pennsylvania. And while we're actually a couple months older, as Brian pointed out in his email for this month, our first Zoom call when we switched over to Zoom was last September. So August is going to be a whole month of us having this format and being on Zoom. And we want to take the time to do a town hall. It's going to be all questions. And if you have questions that you can email in ahead of time, we certainly would welcome that and appreciate that. I may reach out to some other states or even to national leadership and see who may be able to join us for part or all of that monthly meeting. But we're going to also ask from amongst our own people here in Pennsylvania, both members and from leadership, to be able to share some stories and answer questions and talk about, what it is that Ford stands for, what it is, and where we're going. So it's a great opportunity to bring a friend. If someone's saying, what is this Ford thing you've gotten yourself involved with? This is a great time to invite them, let them ask their questions, or let them hear the stories that are being told. So the specific date, generally we meet the third Monday of the month. And so you can expect that that's when it's going to be in August. And we just look forward to having a nice time of conversation for the August meeting. Here's the QR code that I promised for you. If anyone needs that, I'll leave it up just for a minute so you can take your phone and snap a picture of that. That takes you to the Pennsylvania specific donation opportunity. There's a chance to make that $5 a month, or you could do a one-time gift. But certainly there's no pressure, but understand that there are expenses that we're going to continue to face, and we're not looking for any heavy lifting from individuals. We'd like to build the network so all of us can contribute a little and just keep things moving forward.
I thought it was $7.47 a month. That's what it said last time.
Well, there was an email that went out asking for that specific amount of $7.27 to
27.
to celebrate the anniversary date.
I did that because it
but
sounded like
You can really elect what is appropriate for you. So you have a choice to type things in. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave screen sharing world once again. And it kind of wraps up the agenda for the meeting. And we'll just pause to see if anybody has any questions or announcements, anything that they want to cover with the group while we're all here.
the question, the information I had for you, should I just put it in the chat thing or just hold it and give it to Thursday?
If you could drop that in the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, is that what I should do? Okay.
Or why don't you?
Who will take that?
Here.
Well,
this is
listen to Brian. Yep.
This is Brian. So did you get an email invite to this call tonight?
I was invited to this.
Oh.
I was invited. I just didn't crash the party.
I'm gonna put the Pennsylvania Forward Party email in the chat. If you want to email that and just send us whatever contact information you want, okay?
Okay.
Earl and Michael, I didn't get to say hello to you earlier. It's good to see you guys. We've had lots of hours of conversation over this past year. I know we haven't had those recently, but it's good to see you again.
Busy summer.
Yes. Any other hands? I don't see any hands right now. Any? All right. Well, please reach out with any questions that you have, whether something in the interim or for questions for next month's town hall meeting. I encourage people to participate in their regional calls, and certainly this Thursday call with the national group. And don't forget about August 10th and August 17th. And hopefully we'll get information out for you. Keep your eyes peeled for that. As soon as we can release those specifics, we'll be letting you know. And we're real excited about what those dates are going to do as far as creating some additional energy around Pennsylvania forward specifically. And there will be some work to follow. So, all right. I see a comment in the chat. Let's see.
Rachel also has a question.
Oh, Rachel, go ahead.
I was just gonna mention again, that Thursday is kind of like a canned and ready to serve introduction to forward. If you have anyone who's sort of forward curious, as they say, we don't have any organized watch parties, but anybody can invite a friend over or post it on your social media, which probably reaches people who are not on this call. You know, we are sort of in a circle of media and cross-posting and tagging each other. And anytime you share, you know, I capture a couple people in different parts of the state every so often who are like, what are you doing? Or what is this? And so we are just trying to cast a wider and wider net and, you know, correct misconceptions about forward, inform people about what forward is and isn't trying to do. And all of us on this call, you know, are working to make that message better, but we do need to reach as many people as possible. So I'd encourage you just to share, you know, anything you see from Forward National or us at Pennsylvania, and just repost it, you know, if you believe in us, because then that helps us to reach more people.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you taking the time tonight. It's good to see everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.